Hello and welcome. Today we're going to look at the IndiaFoxtEcho, the IFE Tornado. And as you'll see here, we've got 4 different RAF schemes lined up. We're going to do an abridged startup, concentrating on the systems in the front seat. And then we're going to attempt a 4-ship takeoff and recreate a fly past of Buckingham Palace and the Mall in London. I think the last time I saw a tornado fly past was probably the RAF 100 fly past 2018, I think that would have been. Sadly missed from the skies, but we'll try our best to capture the spirit of a fly past today. So we're in the cockpit, and as you can see, it's a very nice detailed model. We're not going to see all the systems today. It's not a in-depth startup, it's not a review, but hopefully it'll give you a bit of a flavour of how to use the Tornado, and plenty of nice detail here. I think something which I just really liked, if you have head tracking and you get your head underneath, just seeing the cables in the back of the switches, the wiring diagram. Clearly a lot of care has gone into creating this model, which is really nice to see. So we're going to concentrate on the front seat systems. We're going to let the simulator sort out the back seat for us. You can do full computer controlled back seat startup process, but we're going to use the sort of quick start back seat process today, just to save a little bit of time. We are going to connect external power, just because I really like the model of it, and I think that's true to life for a normal Tornado start. So our first step, switch the APU power to the external bottom setting. That will then use the power card to power up the onboard APU. And we want to switch our 2 hydraulics, left and right, onto auto. They don't have this nice feature in the Tornado, the rapid start panel. We'll just use this click spot to remove the joystick to show you that. It's a great way of getting systems going quickly. You just give it a pull and it lifts all those switches into their on position. Then we're going to switch off the pitot heaters and the windscreen heater. I think that's a standard procedure, just to save some battery and power use from unnecessary systems on the ground. We can then just run the APU test. Sounds like it's working. And we're going to switch on our emergency radio. And then we're going to connect the external power. So this menu that pops up, if you use your scroll wheel in the middle, you can move the position. That's quite nice. It seems to remember where you put it. So you might want it directly ahead of you. Because I like head tracking, it's quite nice having it just sort of off to the side. And we'll just toggle on the external power. As you can see, it's a quite nice, high quality model of a power cord. I think it's quite nice to see from the cockpit, adds a bit of immersion. Okay, so we'll also turn on our radio to transmit, receive and guard. And while we're here, we'll turn on the oxygen system. Real life, we'd do a check with our back seat. Are we ready for the APU start? Is the fire guard posted? And we'll turn on the anti-collision light on the top of the airplane to signal that we're powering up. And then we are ready for APU start. So at the moment you'll see just the right hand hydraulics have got some pressure, but we'll switch to auto, the crossfeed, and then we can check. They're both at 70 to 110. We'll also switch on both generators And then we'll set the radar altimeter to on. The red flag has disappeared. And we'll energize the HUD. And you can adjust the brightness depending on the conditions outside. TACAN instrument, a couple of clicks gets it to TR. And IFF, one click to standby. And then the terrain following radar onto standby. In a minute we should see this not ready light extinguish and the green ready light will come on. In the meantime, we can check the flag has disappeared from the angle of attack indicator and check that the accelerometer is reset to 0. The clock is showing the correct time. A nice feature, you can switch between local and Zulu time with that button at the bottom. And yeah, as hoped for, we've got a green light on this system here. If you want to test the radar altimeter, set the bug to 50, press the test button, check it shows 100, set the bug back to 0. We can erect the ADI, dial it in, and then press and hold to reset the altimeter. And we can switch the RPMD to T. Now because we haven't used the full backseat checks at the moment, you won't see a picture, nothing to worry about. If you want to do more tests, you've got things like the warning panel tests, and you could also do the lamps test. Lots of lights there, and also left and right consoles, and you can check oxygen system. You can run the TCAN bit. You can turn on the HUD camera and set TBT to datum, so in the up position, and fuel crossfeed, one click up to auto. You can turn the IAF another 2 clicks to normal. And in terms of environmental systems, cabin heat to auto, demist to auto, and intakes anti-icing to auto. We're now ready to start the engine, and we're going to move the switch to the right to start the right engine first. There we go. Helps when I press the right buttons. It'll take a few moments to spool up. Make sure your throttles have come forward. I think you can use mixture control for that, so they can be switched off, but you need them out of shut off for your engine to engage. You'll see the RPM, the turbine temperatures increase. When this gets to 60, we should see the start light turn off and the APU will shut itself off. There we go. So we can now switch on CSAS and also switch on, check it's in the on position, click to switch on spills. There we go. And check our controls, have full and free movement. That's all looking good. So we can start the left engine. And the same as before, the start light should just extinguish itself when we get to 6-0. Now we have both engines running. We can set the X drive, push the button down there, and we can turn on the air system master and check our nose wheel steering. We've got low indicated, we've got high, and back to off. On our hydraulic, we'll put the left set to on, and we'll remove the pin from the EPS emergency power system, but we'll leave it off for now, and we'll close the canopy. We'll also disconnect external power.
Roger.
Okay, so this is the point where pretty much everything is ready. You'll see we've got two lights on still. One for the pitot that we set to off. And before we take off, you give another pull on that bar to make sure everything's in the correct position. But one that's also to do with the autopilot, and you'll also see the autopilot light here. And we haven't got a blank display here and here, and that's because we haven't set up the back seat. But if you don't want to go through either setting it yourself or the quite nice inbuilt automatic checklist for the rear seat, there's a nice little shortcut. And there we go. The back seat's ready. You'll see these displays powering up. So we've now got our map. We've got our terrain following display. You'll see the lights extinguish here, and we've got no warning lights left, which is always good news. We'll set our wing sweep using the flaps control. And before we take off, we'll cycle flat to mid. We've got the parking brake here we'll need to disengage. And if you want to set internal light, you use those switches here. Always remember as well, when you're taxiing, you're going to want to turn on, probably most of the time, low nose wheel steering, but you will need some nose wheel steering. And you can see our fellow tornadoes are all ready and waiting for us. So we'll start taxiing and try and do our fly past.